Now it's time for tonight's orthopaedic question time. Please welcome your host, Mr. Jonathan Dimbleby.
It's a question which I'm asking. What bone condition, surgical procedure, or clinical sign, symptom, or whatever, would the panel individually like to have, I was going to say his or her, his own eponym attached? Raj.
So I'm going to go for the Sengupta sign, which is in some AS patients, I've seen that they have fusion at the top, so between C2 and C4, for example, and then from C5 to C7 down, and so they have a mobile segment, and these patients get a lot more pain than others. So that's going to be the Sengupta sign of the future. Thank you, Jonathan.
Shall we give him that? Okay, you've got it. We won't forget. Ashok.
Well, it's just difficult. I mean, a few years ago, we wrote a paper up of a case of a man with psoriatic arthritis whose x-ray showed as if one of the hand surgeons had done a very neat operation on the metacarpals and taken off the metacarpal heads. But of course, there was no scar. He'd never had any surgery. So we wrote this up as a pseudo-surgical hand. And I wish I'd call that Barla's pseudo-surgical hand.
Avisandu.
Again, it's quite difficult to answer that, but I think one of the things I always tell the registrars is just be sensible, just be sort of rational and just think through things logically, and don't go mad and don't try and do the weird and wonderful like the computer-assisted head replacement or something. So just put sensible Sandu.
Sensible Sandu.
Sophia Harvey.
Cledwin.
Mr. Chairman, I don't need to have my name scattered in the literature anymore. There's a Jones fracture, there's an atypical Jones fracture, there's a Jones procedure, and there's a modified Jones procedure. And
there are lots of Joneses around.
Yes, this wasn't all the same. Actually, that was the same person. Yeah, it certainly wasn't me, I have to say. And someone's actually gone and named the protein after me, the Benz-Jones protein. So,
excellent.
What else can I
So you're secure. Michael.
Well, I'm glad you started that, and that gave me a chance to think. Now, if I go for one of these wonderful new operations, the chances are in a few years' time it will go downhill and my name will be Mud. So I'd rather do something that's very rare, and one thing I've only done twice in my life is a total femur replacement. That's when you have a bad hip and a bad knee, the bone is gone, so you put a huge big rod in between. The chances are that can go wrong and nobody would remember it, and I just slip quietly. So
And finally,
total femur.
And finally, Steve Pope.
Well, I don't think there's been many popes doing orthopaedic surgery, but I would say that one thing I do regret is a small thing, but when I was a registrar, I modified some pins that we used during knee replacement surgery, and they were colloquially known as the Pope's pins in every hospital I worked in London. And actually they're now, I can ask for them in RUH and the Bath Clinic, and they will get them out off the shelf, and that's what they are. But I never made any more of it, and I got the company to modify them, and we all call them the Pope's pins wherever I've worked. But I would like that to have been something that had been more generalised.
Well, I think he deserves that as well, don't you?